Hey guys, got another video for you. This one is going to be some book recommendations. So I'm going to take you through these books that either I've read, am reading, or have been recommended to me that are just really, really good to help you grow in your faith during this time. The first one I have here is by Oswald Chambers. It's called My Utmost for His Highest. This is a day-to-day devotional. It has the dates on there so you can follow through. I'm actually going to be using this book to make a devotional every single day. So if you want to grab this book, you can follow along. It's a great book. I love it. It's a quick read. It's very, very short. I mean, this is, one day and another day. It's just a couple little things that you can read through, some scripture in there just to think every single day. The next book I have is a book that we actually went through as a family ministry, student ministry, children's ministry staff. And it's just awesome. So it's called seven Family Ministry Essentials. Even if you don't work in student ministries and you're a parent of a child in student ministries, this is an incredible book. If you want to be a leader in student ministries as a student leader or an adult leader, I highly, highly recommend that you get this book. It's by Michelle Anthony and Megan Marshman. Really, really great book. Very easy to read. Just like 235 pages. You can knock this out in a couple days. Awesome book. Next up, big boy. Actually, this is the abridged version. This is by Wayne Grudem. It's called Bible Doctrine, and it's Essential Teachings of the Christian Faith. We are going through this right now in a class that I'm a part of at Linworth, and it's incredible. It's a little bit daunting when you see it. Again, this is the abridged version, and the abridged version is like 500 pages. So the big version by Wayne Grudem is like 1,200 pages, but this is his smaller version. It's a really, really great book. It takes you through Bible doctrine. So if you really want to become rooted in the foundation of what you believe in, be able to defend it, be able to explain it, I highly, highly recommend this. Some of the stuff in there is the doctrine of the Word of God, the doctrine of God, doctrine of man, doctrine of Christ, doctrine of application and redemption, doctrine of the church. There's a lot of scriptural references in here. I've highlighted a lot of things. Most of this entire page was really good. I think at one point I actually highlighted an entire chapter. But this is really good if you want just good, solid foundations about what you believe, why you believe it, and to be able to go deeper. There is a smaller version of this. I think it's called like 20 Essential Teachings of the Christian Faith, and that is the even further reduced down version of Wayne Grudem's systematic theology. I highly, highly recommend that you pick it up. It's a great book. The next book I have here is one by Terry Wardle. This one's called Identity Matters. I've never read this book. I've read other books by Terry Wardle, but this is all about understanding the matters of our identity. Understanding even the simple fact that our identity does matter. It's the foundation of our well-being, self-esteem, and self-worth, which directly influences our quest for purpose and significance in life. He goes on to say, unfortunately, we live in a society that insists on performance and people-pleasing as the only acceptable pathways to security and acceptance. This is an incredible author. I've not read this book, like I said, but I highly recommend that you pick this up just as a reflection on your identity and ways to grow in your relationship with Christ and understand more of how he feels about you. I'm definitely going to be reading this over these next couple weeks. I'm excited about this one. Up next, we have a book called The Case for Life. This is a book given to me by my buddy Seth Dreyer, who works for an organization that deals with abortion. He works for Created Equal. He gave me this book to read through. A lot of this stuff is about abortion, how to equip Christians to engage in the culture of abortion. It's by Scott Klusendorf, probably a fake name. But no, it's supposed to be a really, really good read and just kind of talks about resources to equip people to have pro-life conversations, clarify the debates, be able to explain, why we believe what we believe about abortion. I highly recommend you pick this up. I've not finished this one yet either, but I'm looking forward to finishing it. Up next, if you are interested at all in sports and leadership, this is a great book that I got a couple years ago for Christmas. It's by Lou Holtz, the legendary coach of Notre Dame. It's called Wins, Losses, and Lessons. It's his autobiography, and it talks a lot about what it looks like to leave your legacy. It talks a lot about what it looks like to have successes and failures. This is a really, really great autobiography. Lou Holtz is a goofball. He's hilarious. But this is a really, really good read on leadership and how to grow in that way. I really enjoyed this book a lot. Next book I have continuing in leadership is called The Leadership Lessons of Jesus. So this is really cool because the way that this book is structured is it's not really a straight up book in the terms of like a chapter book. Every single chapter is really, really short. It's just a couple pages, and you can see it focuses on different aspects of leadership. So, decisive action, leadership requires discipline, style, substance, and sympathy. It talks about different things like being the servant leader. So this is a book that you could read. You could knock out just a couple of these short, really, really short chapters in just a couple days. I highly, highly recommend that you get this book if you want to learn to grow in your leadership, modeled by the leadership that we saw in Jesus. Moving on, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Not sure how that got in there. This book is awesome. Awesome book. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. This was recommended to me by my good friend Dylan Miller, the youth pastor over at Christian Fellowship Church. Really, really great book. It's by John Mark Comer. It talks a lot about how hurry is the antithesis of a relationship with Jesus. So it's talking about getting rid of that, being centered and focused on all that God is doing in your life in the right here and the right now, and focusing on those things. This is a great, great book. I highly recommend you pick this up. I loved it. Speaking in the same vein, we have this book by Pete Scazzero. It's called Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. This book is very similar to that. I think actually John Mark Comer read this book and basically copied it. No, I'm just kidding. But this is really, really good. It talks a lot about just growing in your maturity, in your relationship with Jesus, and in your life. He makes the point that it's impossible to be spiritually mature while remaining emotionally immature. This is a great book. Parents, I highly recommend that you read this as well. This is a very, very good book. Pete Scazzero offers a lot of insight into his life and some of his insecurities, things that he's had to go through. Again, I'm a big highlighter. I highlighted and underlined and all kinds of stuff in this book. So highly recommend you pick it up. This book is one of my favorites. This is by Jim Cymbala. It is all about the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir. So they planted that. He reflects on, sort of the peaks and valleys of that ministry and how that grew. It's called Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire, and it's incredible. It's an incredible, incredible testimony of just allowing God to take over every single day of your life. I highly recommend that you read this book as well. I've recommended all these books, by the way, to be honest with you. I wouldn't recommend a bad book. If you want to learn how to read the Bible and you want to fully understand the differences between what it was written for in the context that it was written, the culture, everything that was going on, the differences between that and now, understanding the core biblical truths that transcend culture, time, language, all those things, this is a great book. This is a little challenging. It's a little cumbersome to read. There are some chapters in here that make it a little bit difficult, but once you read through it, you'll be able to go back and just pick out certain chapters that apply to certain things that you're reading in the Bible. It's a really, really great accompaniment to you while you're reading certain aspects of the Bible. So, for example, if you're reading through the epistles, the letters that Paul wrote to the churches, if you're reading through the law, understanding the law, that's a big one. It's hard. It's confusing. The authors really break this down well. We have the prophets, the Psalms, Revelation is in there. That's a heavy chapter, but it's really, really good. It's very readable. But again, you may not want to read this cover to cover. You may want to jump around a little bit. Really, really good. And finally, we have this book. I've read this book. It's about discipleship. It's about what it looks like to be a disciple of Jesus. It's about what it looks like to make disciples of Jesus. It's called Multiply. It's by Francis Chan. And the whole thing is just disciples making disciples. But in the very beginning, the first chapter, it talks about what is a disciple. That is a big buzzword that we share a lot in churches. We are called to be disciples who make disciples. But what does it really mean to be a disciple? And Francis Chan really breaks that down super well in this book. If you have, made a commitment to a relationship with Jesus and you want to go the next step or the next 2 steps, you really want to level up as a Christian, so to speak, highly recommend this book as well for that. Those are just a couple of ideas, a couple book recommendations. Like I said, there'll be more to come. I think what I'm going to do actually is go through one of these books. I think I'm going to read a chapter, distill the information, and break it down for you. And I'll let you know what that book is going to be. If you have any recommendations or anything that you want to see me go through, make sure you put a comment below. As always, subscribe. We're going to do that giveaway once we get to 30 subscribers. So make sure you subscribe, share this video. And again, I keep saying that, but it's not about just to get people to subscribe. It's about to get people to engage with this. It's about to get people to take this next 2 weeks and grow in their faith and beyond that. So check them out. Read the books. Read the descriptions. We'll be doing some book giveaways as well as some gift cards. But yeah, check out some of these books. Make sure you comment and subscribe if you have other books that you want me to read or think about. Let's talk about it. I love you guys. Hope you're doing well. Maintain social distance. Wash your hands. See ya.